GingerGM.
Let me unmute myself first. Always helps. Well, hello and welcome to some more spicy chess. And I'm basically warming up for Danny Wrench, who is on in an hour and a half doing chess today. Then later on, the main event. And I'm sure you're all incredibly excited. I don't know if you're excited as me, but wow. I mean, I've been so excited to see Kasparov playing again. I mean, how cool is that? Gary Kasparov has come out of retirement to play some rapid and blitz chess in the Singfield Cup, and he's going to be playing later on. You'll be able to watch the footage here, wherever you're watching me now. So I think that's in about, let me see how many hours, in about 3 hours. So we've got a whole afternoon of chess. So you've got me for an hour and a half. I'm like the rubbish warm-up act. And then you've got Danny Wrench, the even more rubbish warm-up act. Joking, Danny. And then you've got the main event, Gary Kasparov. And well, you know, it's going to be cool. So first of all, I mean, let's just talk about Gary. I watched all of his games yesterday, and he hasn't played for a while, and he's clearly one of the best chess players ever to grace the board. I mean, he in a lot of people's opinion, was the best chess player ever. He's up there in my top 5. I don't know how he rates. You let me know how he rates in your list as well. Is he up there? Is he your favourite top player? I mean, he's certainly one of the best. And he's playing again, and he had 3 draws yesterday. And I think he's going to be rusty. He's a little bit rusty, and you know, some of his games, I think he still played exceptionally well. Whoever said he hasn't prepared is wrong. I mean, I'm not going to give it away, but I know some secret knowledge that he has prepared. But obviously it's secret, so I'm not going to share it. But he's certainly done a bit more preparation than he's letting on. He said he just watched Game of Thrones. That's not true. He's done some other stuff as well. But we can't let that out the bag yet. But it's just great to see. It's great to see him basically playing again. It's just so good because he's just the hero of so many players. And again, I'm so looking forward to how he's going to play later on. I think yesterday he was a bit nervous because he hasn't played for a while, and I'm hoping today all those nerves will be gone and he'll lob Harry up the board. That's what I'm hoping for. So anyway, that's enough of that. So what am I going to do? Well, for the next hour or two, I'm going to basically do 2 things. I'm going to share with you some puzzles. So I'm going to see how you guys getting on at solving some puzzles. So I want you, everyone who's watching this, and I'm looking at the chat in chess.com/TV. So for example, hello Andrew Knox, hello Andrew, hello Chessbird, hello everyone else who's there. I'm also watching the chat in Twitch, so hello everyone over there. Hello Brian B1, what's that, 1980. Hello Kingstar. And hello to everyone else. And I'll be keeping an eye on the chat. But so I want to share some interesting puzzles. Now, I did quite a lot of work yesterday on I searched through loads of different resources, books, magazines, old things on the internet to try to find some good puzzles. And I'm going to share with you my findings. But I'm just going to answer some more questions before we get going. First of all, on the twitch.com chat, someone's asking why I'm not streaming my channel. Well, I'm saving the next stream I do, and this is going to answer Ivan Baket's question. The next stream I want to do on my own channel, GingerGM, is going to be a 12-hour extravaganza. I've just hit over 20,000 subscribers on YouTube, which I'm flabbergasted by. What a lovely word flabbergasted is. It's nearly up there with combobulated. Cool. I'm just thinking of favourite words, but yeah. And I'm going to do a 12-hour stream with guests, so I'm going to have some of my friends join in. But the next time I stream, it's going to be a 12-hour stream. And Jacol, is that how you say it? Jacol is saying with alcohol. Well, look, it's a celebration. And when you're celebrating, you need to have a glass of bubbly, don't you? So I believe there may well be a little bit of alcohol involved. That's my evil laugh, but not for this, because this is a bit more serious what I'm going to do today. So yeah, but I'll keep you posted when that's going to happen. And if you want to, follow me on Twitter and stuff like that, my, web page, my Twitch page, you'll know when it's coming up. It won't be for another week or so, because I'm actually going over to America this Thursday for the first time in my life. I'm going to America. Can you Adam and Eve it? And I'm actually going over to Iowa, and I'm doing some chess lectures for Bob Long, who runs Thinkers Press over there on the Saturday, and doing a similar on Sunday. And I'm not going to be able to see much, unfortunately. I've always wanted to go New Orleans in America. I don't know if anyone's watching this from New Orleans, but that's somewhere I want to go. I just love the idea of going to New Orleans, but there's many places I want to go to. But in a week or two, I will do this 12-hour stream at the end of the month, so keep your eyes open for that. Okay, well, I see some of you talking about Ben Feingold. I've mentioned, I've talked about that in the past, so I won't mention it again here, except I want to crush him. I want to crush him like a fly. Oh, yes, I do. Yes, I do. Okay, right. So let's dive into a question. Now, a little bit of research I was doing, which I was enjoying doing. I was trying to find games, chess games, to make myself feel better, because I had a bad tournament at the British Championships. I didn't do particularly well, and I want to put it down just having a bad tournament. And I was looking at cases from all this, material I was going through yesterday, of where someone either resigned or offered a draw in a position where they shouldn't have resigned or offered a draw. So they either resigned in a winning position or a drawing position, or they offered a draw when they were winning. And I found some interesting cases of this. What's more sickening than giving up when you think you're losing and then later on you find you're winning? So I have a question for you now, and it's to do with the position you can see on the board. And this is from a real game. And I'm going to leave the name of the player with white out of it, but I found it in some book. It was played in about 1940 in Berlin in a tournament there. Probably not one of the nicest places in the world to play at that time, 1940. But who knows? Maybe it was a bit better. Anyway, we won't go into politics. We'll stay out of that. I'm not getting involved in politics. No. And in this position, I don't know what White was thinking, because White now played Queen to E5. And he played this move. And I think, I'm not saying it's a good move or a bad move, because it threatens checkmate. And in this position, it's quite hard for Black to stop that checkmate, because he can't move Freddy the F-pawn because it's check. But the thing that I find amazing is that Black really only has one move here, Rook to E8, pinning the Queen to the King. And you know what White did here? White resigned. White did resign here. And my first question to you guys is resigning right? And if you don't think it is right, of course, don't use computers when you're doing this. It's a waste of time. You're trying to learn. It's all about tactics. White resigned. Now, if you don't think White should resign, think why. And you have to tell me a reason. Don't just tell me one move. If you tell me the first move, that means nothing. You have to tell me the combination. So it might be a combination of 3 or 4 forced moves. Should a White resigned here? Should he? Can you Adam and Eve it? Which in Cockney rhyming slang means, can you believe it? Can you Adam and Eve it? I actually see in the chat as well, Andrew Knox is saying maybe I should do some videos of Ben Feingold's worst games. Well, I was thinking of doing that. I was going to do a stream showing his best games, but the problem was, when I looked at his games, there were so many to pick from. I just found that the task of finding his worst games was just going to take me at least a year to go through all of his games, and I just don't have the time to try to find one of his good games. So I thought, I can't do that. I can't look at his worst games. It's just going to take me too long, and I've got better things to do. So I decided against that. I decided against looking at his worst games. A much harder task would actually be to try to find a good game. So that will be a lot harder, actually. It will take a lot of searching, but maybe I'll do that. We'll see. I'm only joking. Okay. Well, he might beat me, Blazero. I know he might beat me. He's a very good player. I'm only having a crack at the whip. Okay, so we have some suggestions coming in, and well done on the Twitch chat too. The first person who's got this. Well, I think Chess Vers Lad has got the right idea. Koval Super GM has actually worked it out all the way to checkmate, so well done, Koval Super GM. And wow, there's a lot of what on earth is going on here? There's so much chat in the chess.com chat. I don't even know what's going on. But Germany Red Bulls, well done to you in the chess.com chat. And you don't need to repeat it. So I should see it the first time, even though I'm a little bit blind at times. And of course, don't use a chess engine. It's not smart. It's not clever. But the way white should not resign here, and what you've got to do in chess, you've got to always look at the most forcing ideas. When you get into a tactical position like this, and this is clearly a tactical position, you should always look at the checks and the captures, what I call the wham-bam moves, the wham-bam, in your face, wham-bam, wham-bam moves. You should always look at the wham-bam moves first. And what is a wham-bam move here? Well, and Koval Super GM's actually got a great bit of advice there. Koval Super GM is saying never resign until you've worked out all the checks you have in the position. And of course, there's no point resigning until you look at all the checks you have available. For example, you can't go Queen G7, as someone's recommended. That is what we call a pin in chess, just in case you've forgotten the meaning of a pin. But what you can do is go Bishop takes F7 check, and now black's only got one move, and this just shows you should look at always the checks, even in desperate situations. King to F7, and there's only one more decent check that you can play here. You can't castle. It'd be lovely if you could castle here, but you can't do that because you've been moving into check. But there is another check, and the other check is rook to F1 check. And now the lovely point of this combination is black only has one square for the king, king to G8, and now we only have one more check, and the one more check we have is to divert the rook away from the queen, and as soon as the rook is diverted away from the queen, we can go boom, and that is what I call a boom move. You can put that in black's pipe and make him smoke it. Rook to F8 check. And now we're diverting the rook away, so we're getting out of the pin. Rook takes rook, and now we do the kiss of death. Mwah! And the kiss of death, I call this checkmate the kiss of death because you're giving the opponent's king a deadly kiss of death. And that is one reason why black should not have resigned. Okay, by the way, I'm going to pick someone. I've got a couple more puzzles first. And basically then I'm going to play a long play game against one lucky or unlucky viewer, as how you see it. So I'm keeping an eye on the chat, and I think the person who gives the best chat, who gets involved with solving the puzzles, someone who I notice I will challenge a game of chess to, which I'm going to analyze. So in order to take part in that, make sure you're logged into chess.com. You've got to be on their server. You've got to be ready to play, ready to kick some bottom, and you've got to be ready to play me. But we're going to have a couple more puzzles first. Okay, so the next situation I had. Now, one little thing. Puzzles like this, if you're playing in a game, you know, let's have a think what you'd be considering here. If I was white here, when you're attacking, when your opponent has a weak king, which black does here, what I'd first consider is the move that is either the most forcing or the move that creates the biggest threat. So on my list of things I'm thinking of queen to e5 first because it threatens checkmate. And I think in a game situation, I would play this move and calculate the lines, and I'd find it because it makes the biggest threat. So that's how we'd find a move like this. Now let me just set up the next puzzle. Bear with me 1 second. I'm just going to set it up now. And I'm going to show you a game played by a friend of mine, a Grandmaster Keith Arkar. And Grandmaster Keith Arkall is an English Grandmaster, a good friend of mine, and he was white here. And he's playing James Holland, who's a very talented player, basically Grandmaster strength as well. And this again shows you a situation where you shouldn't give up. Now, unlike the last situation, Keith did not resign. He found a brilliant resource. And another thing in chess to improve is basically you need to, when you're showing examples like I'm showing you here, you need to try to clock on and remember. You might even do this subconsciously. That's what I think is the better way to remember certain patterns, certain ideas that you can use in your own game. You've got to try to get into remembering these concepts in puzzles, because then they become a lot easier to see in future. Now, in this position, Keith Arkall is white, and the game continued with h3. And look at Harry there. Harry, the h-pawn, is really, really prodding Keith in the side. And white's king looks very, very exposed. And this is from a real game. Yes, it is. All the examples I'm using are from real games. I haven't made them up. They're all taken from real games. And in this position, the white king is very exposed. These pawns are like a very bad tent. You know, it's like a tent that's exploded and flown up into the wind. Because look at all the squares that are around behind those pawns that are weakening the white king. And, well, of course, here, Keith, in a rather desperate situation, played queen a5. He tries to start a counterattack, and now black played queen into the guts, queen e3 check. And this is now really, really tricky, because you have to move your king. Where do you move your king? Well, Keith didn't want to put it in the corner, because if he goes queen here, well, it looks like it might be trapped here for a number of reasons. There might be a queen takes d3 at some moment. Instead, Keith played king to f1, trying to keep his king defending some of his pieces. But now black brought in another attacker. But this was actually a mistake, even though it's so impossibly hard to see why the next move is a mistake. Bishop to h4, not caring about the rook, but creating some very nasty threats. Now, whenever your opponent plays a move, you should always think, what did my opponent play, and why did he play that move? So why did black play bishop to h4? Well, after queen takes c7, so white goes a rook up, what was black's idea? So in the chat here, it's black to move. You can't go queen takes f2, checkmate. You can't play queen to f2, checkmate at the moment, because the knight is defending that. But what is black's very crafty idea here? So I can see now that Pep Alou, I guess that's how you say it in the chess.com chat, has the right idea. Parfiro doesn't have the right idea, I'm afraid. If you go bishop takes rook here, let me just show you why this is not the right idea. White could simply play knight takes bishop, and now white is defending everything. He's defending all of his weaknesses. And as well as that, white is a piece up. So it's not, the idea is not to play bishop takes rook. The bishop is better than the rook. There was another idea, and I see a lot of you are getting this right in the chat. Let's have a look at chess.com chat. Omar Lamby, hello. Germany Red Bulls, hello. The right idea here is queen takes d3. And this is a really scary move to face, because it does two things. It wins a piece. It does a number of things. It gets rid of this piece, but it also creates some deadly threats. Now, white cannot take the queen, because now we have the combination of these two pieces. And rook takes e1, because of little Harry there, is checkmate. Checkmate, not chocolate, checkmate. Checkmate. As they say in Scotland. Checkmate. They don't actually speak like that in Scotland. And the other thing here, if it was black's move, because black is threatening the rook here, so let's just say white played rook takes c6. What could black now play? What could black now play? And to answer Sanjay Rain's question, no, queen takes f3 was not better. That would lose a queen, because the knight is defending the rook. You have to get rid of the knight on d3 first. But what could black play in this position? And I have to say, people on the Twitch chat are doing very well. Koval Super GM, Chelsea, 298. I like that. Spuriki is saying, stop that Scottish accent. You sound like a Chinese guy. Okay, well, I apologise for that. But okay, well, if it was black to move now, black can now force checkmate. And again, look for the most forcing moves first. Start with checks. Queen takes f3, boom. And that move is very scary because if you go king to g1, Harry will help you deliver checkmate. And if you go pawn takes queen, now we've got rid of the knight on d3, rook takes e1, boom, boom is checkmate. And that is weaving a horrible net around the white king. My evil laugh comes out. So after this move, and remember, you can't go queen takes f3 in this position because after this, the knight is defending the rook. So the way the game went, it went queen takes d3, and now it looks like basically white is in a horrible situation. It looks like white is completely lost. But Keith Arkall now came up with a fantastic, brilliant, beautiful, stunning, one of the most amazing moves I have ever seen. It's white to play, and if you've seen this already, then don't, good on you. It's white to play, and white now played a move which was just simply brilliant. It was a simply brilliant move. And I can see that Nimzozo and Chelsea had the right idea here. Imagine you're black here. What can you play? Now, a move like queen takes c6 does not help because here black will just play. It does defend f3 and it does defend the rook, but in this position, and Arayman, I don't know why you're spamming. You're certainly not going to get a game like that, and I hope someone does block him because that is just terrible. Can't see any chat when someone's doing that. But the move here is just queen e3, and the queen is going to sneak its way into f2 there. F2. So that is a very that doesn't help. But the amazing move here, and please don't, if you're using computers, it's not going to help you. Well, first of all, I have to say Chelsea 298 had the right idea. You need to divert one of these pieces away. And queen to c8 is one beautiful idea. It's a beautiful idea. Because now, what can black do against this? It doesn't work, but it's a beautiful idea. So let's have a look at this move first. This fantastic diversion move. Well, first of all, the point is, if rook takes queen, we now go pawn takes queen, and we're not going to fall for rook takes e1 checkmate anymore. If queen takes f3 check, which may look like it's winning, we can now take the queen, and we're pinning the black rook to the king. So the black rook cannot move, so that doesn't work. But black does have another possibility after queen to c8. And the other possibility is simply queen to e3 again, defending the rook, threatening checkmate. And in this position, white has to lose his queen to stop checkmate. Black should win. So there's a better move than queen here. And I think a couple of you have the right move now. Drawminator, and who else has got this? Omar Landby, well done. And who else has got this? A lot of you got this. Queen to d8. And this is one of the most amazing chess moves I have ever seen. Because you're trying to divert either the rook or the queen away. And remember, both the rook and the queen are two of black's key pieces in order to create this threat of rook takes e1. So this unbelievable move, and who would think of putting their queen on pre to two pieces? It's astonishing. It's actually now going to give white a much better position because, again, what can black do here? Well, he can't go queen takes f3. We go pawn takes, and again, the rook is pinned to the king. So we can rule out queen takes f3. In the game, if bishop takes d8, we take here, we're in exchange up, we will win the ending. So you can't go bishop takes. If you go queen e3 now, the difference here, and the last line is that the white queen is attacking the bishop. So white can just go queen takes bishop, stopping checkmate. And in this position, white's a rook up, so white should win. So the only possibility here was for black to go rook takes queen. Everything else loses. And now after pawn takes queen, bishop takes here, king takes here, white has a better ending because these pawns over here, especially c6 and a7, are very weak. So white went on to win this game. So it was a really brilliant game. I don't know how to post an FEN of the game, I'm afraid. GG Tracker. Maybe I'll try to sort that in future, but obviously I've got a lot of other things going on at the moment, so I might not be able to do that now, but I'll try to sort that out in the future. Now, so what we're going to do, we're going to look at one more puzzle, and then I'm going to play a game against one of the viewers here who's behaved themselves, who's got involved, who's leaving nice chat. I'm going to challenge one of you to a long play game. So one more puzzle to go. So let me just set this up so you don't see the answer. And, you know, this might decide who gets to play me, who does solve this one. So it will just take me a minute or two to set up. I love that photography that you can see here. Don't you love that photography with the little... Can anyone read the H-pawn there? What does the H-pawn say? What does the H-pawn say? What does it say, the H-pawn? What does it say? You can read the H-pawn. Okay, I'm just setting this up. Okay, right. Now, okay, this is the next puzzle. And so... in this position, hopefully you can see me again now. This is the last puzzle of the day. I am a weirdo 44 is just saying I brought your DVD. Well, thank you, I am a weirdo. I'm very happy you brought the DVD. Cheers, mate. You can go to GingerGM.com and buy my DVDs if you want to improve. They're very cheap. Or you can just look at my YouTube stuff for free. Now, in this position, white had just played queen takes f6. And... it is now black to move, and here black played queen takes c3, thinking that he was safe here, but queen takes c3 is a big mistake. First question, how did white now force checkmate? And please try to calculate all the moves you can here. How can white force checkmate? How can white force checkmate here? Omar Lambie is going queen g7, boom, boom. I love it. Queen g7, Ferner Dom, ff, yeah, well done, sir, well done, sir. And someone is saying Chililicious is saying, good morning, Simon. Well, it's not the morning over here in England, it's 4:30 in the afternoon, but good morning to you anyway, sir. Got some good trash talk ready for GM Ben? Well, Chililicious I will have in a month's time, but I don't really need to come up with any good trash talk with Ben. You know, it is Ben, isn't it? Come on. Okay, so now the way this turned out, and by the way, guys, get ready. Make sure you're logged on to chess.com and you're ready to play me because I'm going to offer one of you a game very soon. And I love that hand. By the way, someone in chess.com has got the handle Ginger Ninja 2003. Used to be my nickname of Ginger Ninja, so I love that handle as well. Okay, but the win here, it's to do with the weak back rank, so you need to get the bishop out of the way. It's a very nice win. Queen to g7 check. A beautiful move, because the idea of this move is to divert the bishop. So well done if you got this right. So I don't understand how... some people are saying queen to h8 check, but I think king takes queen here, and you've lost the queen because the bishop still is blocked. So you've got the right idea, but you've got to make sure you force the bishop to move. Here, the king can't take because you're defending it. The bishop has to move. And now we can go for the back spanker. Whoosh. Rook to e8. There's a back spanking. Back spanking, here we come. And now only one move. Bishop to f8. And here you have this... quite nice. I don't know if this has got a name, this checkmate. We could call it the box checkmate, I suppose, something like that. Put it in your box checkmate. I don't know, something along those lines. So we're now going to go back to the initial position, and white had just played queen c3. My question to you, imagine you're black here. What is the best move in this position? What would you play if you were black here? What would you play if you were black in this position? So imagine you're black. I'm keeping a very close eye on the challenge, and I'm going to challenge one of you to a long play game. All you have to do is be logged in to chess.com and tell me your handle and be ready to play me, and I will tell you who I'm going to try and propose a game to in a second. So I'm keeping an eye on anyone who's got been involved with the chat, and anyone who wants to play me as well, because you probably don't all want to play me, do you? It doesn't matter what your rating is. That's not the point of when I'm going to play. And what is the best move here? Well, rook d1. I go queen takes bishop, Chelsea. Nice idea. Nice idea. It doesn't quite work. Let's have a look. So rook d1 is an idea, because then if I go rook takes rook, you can now take my queen and you defend your back rank. So that's a nice idea. This is quite hard, absolute fury, I do agree. But it wouldn't be fun if it was easy. You've got to make things difficult in life. But after rook d1, white has a very good move here. And white can play queen takes e5. And that basically defends the rook. I'm a piece up and I threaten checkmates everywhere. So who's got the right answer? Well, it looks like Izag has got the right answer on Twitch and on chess.com. ASD8 has got the right answer. Well done. And the answer here, it's a bit like the other one. And Ginger Ninja, it's good to see you're involved. The answer here is a like Keith's game. And this is where I'm showing you. I'm picking certain patterns, puzzles, which have the same theme. In the last game, you nearly had the same pieces. It was a different position. But in that position, Keith looked like he was going to be checkmated because his king, in the last example, was in a lot of trouble. Here, it's the same situation. But in this position, you've got to do a crazy move. And again, now the amazing move, queen to c1. And it's very similar to the last thing because you're trying to divert either the bishop or the rook away, just like the last example. Because if you divert either of these pieces away, then you can deliver. Well, you're not going to get checkmated and you're doing okay. So for example, now this is a brilliant idea, because if you try queen g7 check like before, bishop takes g7, and like the last example, the rook on e1 is pinned. So in actual fact, black is winning here. So let's have a look at the other possibilities. Well, if you go bishop takes c1, well, now I can take your queen and I'm a pawn up in an ending. If you go rook check here, I have king g7. And I've gained an important tempo. If you put your bishop back on h6, all I have to do is stop your rook coming here. I can do that with rook to e5. I'm a pawn up in an ending again. This queen c1 move is a brilliant idea. And what happened in the game? Well, I think it went queen to g7 check, which, no, it didn't go there because, again, you just go bishop takes. I mean, this is better now for black. So this fantastic resource here is playing with fire, but it's meeting fire with fire. And I just wanted to share with you those nice examples there, because I thought they were brilliant when I saw them, and they're quite unique. I've never seen anything like that in chess before, so you know, it's something I really enjoyed seeing. Okay, so who am I going to play? Well, the first challenge I'm going to go out to, who's been involved, I don't know if he's on chess.com. If he's not, he's going to miss out. But Koval Super GM, who is on the Twitch chat, do you have a chess.com handle? Are you on chess.com and do you want to play? Now, please answer in the chat in Twitch. You're my first challenge. If you want to play, make sure you're in chess.com. I will challenge you to a game because you come up with some very good answers. If you're not going to answer soon, and that's Koval Super GM. Okay, and he says he has got a handle. It doesn't matter what the grade is of the people I'm playing, because what I'm about to do, I'm going to challenge you now, Koval Super GM, by the way. Now, a couple of things. What we're going to do now, and this is I think, is going to help everyone, and this has proved to be one of the most popular things that I'm doing, one of the most popular things that I have done on my YouTube channel. I'm going to play a longer time limit, so I'm playing 15 minutes plus 10 seconds a move. I'm challenging, it doesn't matter the rating of my opponent, it really is not that important. But what I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to talk through all my ideas. You might have seen me do this before. And I'm going to explain to you what I'm thinking as a grandmaster. So basically, you're going to dip inside the brain of a grandmaster. And you're going to have ideas. You're going to know what it's like to be a grandmaster, what a grandmaster thinks like. Hopefully, you can learn something by understanding the way I think. I'm going to try to think in a very simple yet effective way. And I'm going to try to vocalize my thoughts so you guys can also basically know what's happening. I see someone, Parfio, saying, why aren't these streams on the chess.com schedule? Well, this was a last minute stream. I only decided to do this today, so it's my fault. I should have announced it a long time ago, but normally if you check on the schedule, you will have a very good idea when these streams are happening. Okay, Koval Super GM, I'm going to send the challenge to you in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And basically, Spew Riki is saying, so basically I'm going to commentate on the moves. Yes, basically that's the idea. And now another thing I would say, I've said this before, the reason my rating's so low, it doesn't matter, is that number one, I played some cheats. Luckily, they've been banned straight away because chess.com has a brilliant cheat detection. And number two, it's a bit harder when you're commentating. So what I'm going to do now, boys and girls, if you saw my stream from a couple of days ago, if you go to my YouTube channel, I've got many more streams like this up there, so you can rewatch them there. I'm going to play the London system, and this is the way I play the London system. I don't always play this, but this is something I've been playing a lot recently. And this is something Magnus Carlsen started to play. If you want to learn more about this opening, then you have to be a premium member of chess.com. They have some videos up there, or you can look at my YouTube channel, or I have a DVD out on this. Now, I'm not going to talk too much about the opening, and also I must say to my opponent, Koval Super GM, please, 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 I trust you're going to do this. Please turn off the commentary so you can't hear me, because I'm going to be talking about the ideas and I don't want you to get my thoughts. It'd be a lot better for you if you can't hear me. You can view this video later. You don't need to do it now. So please turn off the commentary, Koval Super GM. Now, the idea of the London system is that you get this pawn here and you support it in a triangle formation. I say triangle, it's a pretty triangle, like a pyramid. And in order to do this, I want my bishop outside of the pyramid first, because imagine if this bishop was back on c1. Imagine that. The bishop on c1 would be a bad piece because it's stuck behind these pawns. So the next thing I'm going to do here is just create my pyramid, because now my front pawn in this, the pawn on d4, is very well protected. And now I've got to develop my pieces. So I'm bringing, hopefully I get my bishop to d3, and then I complete my development. In chess, you can't do anything too aggressive. Well, you can't go for a winning attack without a good foundation, and a good foundation means you need your piece to develop. Now, the way I always meet this move, this is now like a Mexican standoff between these two bishops. If you ever get this set up in the London system, I recommend you just move your bishop back to g3, because on g3 I want my opponent to take here, because then I can take with Harry and I can open up the h file, and that gives me attacking possibilities, especially if my opponent castles. I don't want to take there straight away, because that will just help my opponent. So my opponent's castled, and now I'm going to develop my last piece. So far, everything very natural. And always try to develop your pieces to the most active squares, the best squares you can think of. Where is that bishop most active? In the London system, just sitting behind the front of the pyramid. It sits there because, look, it has a great diagonal shooting down towards potentially my opponent's king. Now, my opponent has just played h6 here, so trying to avoid any tactics. Now, I have a couple of ideas here. I could try queen e2 with some e4 ideas. I could go knight to e5. This is another idea. I could just castle. I think I'm going to play a bit of an aggressive idea and keep my position flexible, because if I castle straight away, maybe then black can take on g3, and if I take with the h-pawn, I no longer have a rook here. Now, in the London system, the queen is quite good on e2, so I'm going to move it there, because later on I connect the rooks, and the queen helps me at some point to maybe move forwards with the pawn to e4, which is a very logical move to play at a later moment. So this is a good move to improve my position, and I'm not doing anything special at this moment in time. I'm just trying to improve my position and make things. Now I see a question by I am weirdo 44. Is c4 a good idea? I don't think so, because that would close his center down and that would give me a fantastic bishop forever. Now when your opponent takes here, I have two choices. Normally taking towards the center is good, but in this situation I quite like taking this way. I'll explain why. First of all, it gives me more control over this central square, and a key idea in the London system is to move my knight into that square. So I have a half open file controlling this square. And another thing you must be thinking when you're playing chess, you must be thinking about your opponent's pieces. So which of my opponent's pieces are good? Well, his bishop and two knights are good. Which of my opponent's pieces are bad? This bishop here on c8 is a really rubbish piece, because again, it's trapped in by these pawns. It has no air to breathe. It's going to be in danger of suffocating. So my pieces, on the other hand, if you compare that bishop to my bishop has loads of air. But my opponent's just played this move, rook to e8. He might want to try to go e5 and attack me. So I have two ideas here. Number one, I either castle, not sure which side. I could go very aggressive queenside. Or number two, I take control of this square. And now that I have this queen defending that square, I think I'm going to move my knight into the middle, and this is one of the main ideas of the London system. This move is well worth remembering, because yet again, I don't need to commit my king. I may castle queenside, I may castle kingside. I haven't decided. I'm leaving the trickier decisions until later on. I'm playing very simple, natural moves. I'm following the ideas that I need to know, and one of the ideas, knight to e5, is incredibly logical. It keeps his bishop trapped, because if he can't move his e-pawn, how's he going to get his bishop out? So I keep the e-pawn trapped. He can't really bring it out here. This piece is one piece I am playing against. You might as well knock that piece off the board. But I've got to now continue about my own plans here. So what are my own plans? Well, castling queenside is risky, but I don't think I need to do this. If you've got a good position anyway, why should you take risks? And I think, you know, if I castle queenside, he might be able to go b5, b4 and attack me over there, which, you know, I don't see why I should allow that. That just doesn't make sense. On the other hand, if I castle on the king side, which I think I'm going to do, let's just make sure he's not threatening to take this one. He has, okay, an easy way, you know, if you're just starting out in chess and you're not sure if your opponent can win points on a square, just count how many pieces he has attacking that square. 1, 2, 3. He has 1, 2, 3 pieces attacking. Count how many pieces you have defending. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And in order for your opponent to win points on that square, he has to have more attacking than you have defending. So I know my knight is safe here. I'm not going to castle queenside now, because then he'd have this tactic, knight takes d4. That'd be a nasty tactic. I'm going to castle kingside, and I have a particular idea in mind, because when you develop as a chess player, this is, you know what you should be doing in the middle games. How many times have you guys struggled for a plan in the middle game? One reason why I do these longer time limits and I play these games, and one reason I play the same openings every time, is because I want to try to help you in one particular opening. I'm playing the London time at longer time limit because I'm going to show you the middle game plans, like what you should be doing in positions like this all the time. And for example, here I want to play f4. I want to play f4 here because that would support my knight more, and maybe even I could get my pawn running for the attack. The other thing I could do is just bring my rook in to support this piece more. So my opponent is really trying to get rid of my knight here. Now there's two natural moves, aren't there? Either f4, keeping the support of my very strong knight, and again I know this because it's a typical idea, or I go rook to e1. But let's have a think. Which one do I play? I mean, can I do it? Do I have any crazy moves like knight takes f7, king takes queen h5 check? Well, I don't know. That looks a little bit over the top. I don't play any tactical craziness until you're sure that you know what you're doing. Look, I really like the move f4 because I might at a later moment go f5 and bring another piece into the attack. So this must be a simple move. Now my opponent's come up with a good idea there. That's a good idea. Nice play from my opponent. Maybe I should have thought about my options a little bit more. Why is that a good idea? Well, he has this backwards pawn on e6, but we've got to think what our opponent's ideas at every stage of the game. Why did he go f5? Can you guys know why he wants to do that? Why did he play that? Because he wants to bring his knight into this square. Imagine if he gets that knight there. That will block out everything. So I now need to... He's played this well. I now need to think of ways to try and stop that. I could take the knight off. That looks like the best idea because I don't want to allow that knight to jump into the center of the board. I don't want to allow that. I could also play bishop h4 and try to take it with my bishop because my bishop now is not very good. Why is this bishop a bad piece? Because it's trapped behind a pawn. So let's have a look at that. Can I go bishop here, knight here, bishop takes here, pawn takes? And maybe his pawn's quite good there because it attacks my knight. But then, I don't know, that's quite an interesting position. It's a very unclear position. Maybe I can then bring my queen in, attacking his rook and attacking here. Because I don't really want to swap here unless I have to, because my knight on e5 is very good. But I can always, if I do ever swap this, my other knight quickly comes in reinforcement. So I think I'm going to play bishop h4 because my bishop is worse than my knight on e5. So I'd rather swap my bishop for the knight. And I'd also, and I think someone in the chat has pointed this out, this allows my g-pawn to move. Now, why would it be a good idea to move my g-pawn? Because my bishop on d3 is locked in at the moment. It's locked in. If I can play g4, then let's say he takes that. Look at my bishop then. My bishop has a lot longer range towards his king. So I want to give all my pieces the maximum potential they can while restraining my opponent's pieces. That is quite a funny comment. Spew Riki is saying in the chat, I never struggle on finding plans in the middle game. I just find the wrong plans. And you know what, Spew Riki? I'm actually going to say that it's better to play a bad plan than no plan. You might think I'm crazy saying that, but it's better to have a bad plan than no plan, Spuriki. Because at least if you have a bad plan, you know, you're at least thinking of something. If you're just playing random moves, that's crazy. Okay, now let's move on. My opponent has taken here. What do I take with, this pawn or this pawn? I think it's pretty clear what I take with. I take with the f pawn because my rook may want to play a part in the game, especially when I go g4. And g4 is a move I'm really wanting to play soon. Not now. Do I swap bishops or do I do something else? Well, another thing, what pieces of mine are not doing well? I think my bishop on d3 is very good because I'm going to go g4 later on. So I'm not worried about that. But my knight's not good. And I'm thinking of trying to bring my knight here and maybe bring it into g6. What about queen here as well? Oh, that's a good move. Queen here is very good. Let's bring the queen into the attack because that threatens the rook, defends the bishop, and then all I need to do next, I need to play g4, open up this bishop here. A problem that my opponent really has here, in chess, every pawn move makes a weakness. People don't think like this, but every time you make a pawn move, you actually weaken a square. Now, my opponent has moved his pawn earlier on to h6, and you have to be very careful moving pawns around your king because this pawn move has drastically weakened the g6 square and it's weakened his light square. So if I can get my bishop in the game, I'm laughing. My opponent's played queen here, and now he wants to, again, take this piece. I could take there. I don't really want to swap queens here at all, because if I swap queens, my attack becomes less powerful. I could also, I think it's now time to move my knight in because my knight is not doing well. And in the future, I want to use this weakened square. You've got to notice when your opponent has a weakened square. I'm telling you, I'm talking so fast because I'm just telling you as much as I can see I mean, I'm thinking of more things, but I'm verbally trying to tell you as much as I'm thinking of. This square is weak, so if I play knight here, I have a chance of getting my knight into this weakened square later on. And that gives another piece around his king, another piece near his king, another piece that might help me checkmate my opponent. But my main move here is g4. g4 is the critical move, because as soon as my bishop opens up, he's going to be in a whole world of pain. So in general, this looks like a good position. And remember, guys, what is a very bad piece of my opponent? Still, this bishop. Now, he might want to move his bishop there later on, but that takes some time. Now, I must play g4 here, surely. If I don't play g4 now, I'm crazy. I've got to play g4 because I need to get rid of his pawn on f5 so my bishop can go wah-ha-ha-ha. And this must be the right idea. It's okay moving pawns in front of your king as long as you have control of the center. When you move in pawns in front of your king and you don't have control of the center, then it could really backfire. But in this position, my opponent, well, I have a good control there. The center is closed. Okay, my opponent's now taken here. Now, maybe if knight takes, he has queen to g5. I didn't see that. That's quite a crafty idea. Now, can I sacrifice here? Can I go pawn takes pawn? Can I do this? My opponent's defending well. Now, if I go pawn takes pawn, is that shall we sacrifice? Go, okay, what about pawn takes pawn? And then he should probably move his bishop. So let's say bishop to g5 and then f6, going for a crazy, I like it. I like it. My instinct says it's good because my bishop, and I have 1, 2, and potentially 4 pieces attacking there. So I think I'm going to play the risky move, and I think I'm going to sack a piece. I'm not even calculating this that much. I'm not even going to spend too much time calculating. I'm going to go with instinct. Instinct, in a real game, you'd need to back this up with basically a bit more calculation. You have to, calculation is key. And now the idea is I want to get this guy in a move. Now, if he plays pawn takes pawn here, then I can play knight takes h4, and his pawn on f5 is very weak because I have a bishop, a knight, a rook, and a queen all attacking it, so I should win a pawn in the game. If he tries to save his bishop by moving it, my idea is to use Freddie, or it's Gary the G-pawn, and this is honor of Gary Kasparov. It did start as Gary, now he's turned into Freddie. I want to go f6, and then my bishop wants to open up, and I want to put my queen in on the light squares and give him checkmate like that. So this is my general idea of attack. And, you know, I calculated some lines okay here. And you obviously have to follow your instinct a little bit in chess. I mean, you know, when you have some sacrificial idea, you calculate as much as you can. If you have a good position anyway, there's absolutely no point taking too many risks. But if your position is, you know, you're not sure about your position, and my opponent, the reason I did this, because if I played knight takes there, my opponent would be able to swap queens. I didn't really want my opponent to swap queens there. So I've taken this move, but I don't think it's that risky because I think if I get f6 in, my attack becomes incredibly strong here. Okay, so my opponent has played the more wimpish move, and now I can simply go knight takes here, and I think he's losing a pawn, and I think my opponent should not have done this because let's think of it from his point of view. He's either going to lose the pawn, and if you're a pawn down but with no positives, you're just a pawn down, you're probably going to lose the game. On the other hand, if we go back, if my opponent had tried to hold on to his bishop, I'd have to checkmate him, otherwise he'd be a piece up. Maybe I was still winning, but at least there were some positives. He's got extra material. In this position now, we've got back to equal material. He can exchange queens, but if he does so, I will take the queen off and I will just win this pawn, and I'll be a nice bit of material up. So my opponent tried to defend this pawn, but that doesn't really help him because I can win the pawn straight away. But do I have a stronger move? We should always see in some positions if there's something stronger. Now, I could even go king h1, rook g1 and try to checkmate him on g7. Very tempting, that one. I could also play rook e1, trying to go e6, but then he would play bishop to e6. I mean, simple is normally good. So this simple move is good, but I like the idea of punishing him because his pieces still seem very, very bad. Very bad in this position. So I like the idea of punishing him. So I'm actually thinking I might play King H1, Rook G1 and just try to checkmate him. So King H1, let's work out slide. King H1, King to H7, Rook G1. Or I can take there then. I like King H1. I'm going to play King H1 because his last move didn't really seem to help him. And I want to put this rook here because then I can get my last piece into the game. I want all of my pieces taking part in the attack. I want everything. And I want this rook to come to F1. So my last piece comes in to the attack. So sometimes in chess, don't grab the first pawn that comes to you. It's often a lot better to keep the pressure on your opponent. Because had I taken that pawn, yes, I'd have a very good position. I'd go a pawn up. But that would allow my opponent to swap off lots of pieces. And the two pieces I'm allowing him to swap off are very bad. Where is his knight going to move to? His knight can't move anywhere. We know his bishop is a bad piece. So why do I want to swap off those pieces even if I win a pawn? I might as well keep the pressure on his position. And like I say, my plan is Rook G1, Queen takes H6, Queen takes here, checkmate. Also, I can see a tactical idea. One tactical idea in the spirit of Macau Tao is Rook G1 and Rook takes G7. So, now, have I messed this up by allowing him a chance to defend? I don't think so. But maybe, okay, we'll see. So I'm going to go Rook G1. I'm going to continue with my plan. Threatening Queen takes H6. Maybe I have Rook takes G7. Now, does Rook takes G7 work? I also have Knight G6 here. This is also a very good move. He's trying to defend like this. Okay, so let's have a think. Does Rook takes G7 work? Takes, check, King H7. I don't see why it would work. Knight G6 is now my next move. Knight takes knight. Rook takes. Then he gets a little bit of counterplay. He takes here. But then I can go Rook takes here, King takes with mate. That's a very nice variation. So what I'm trying to do here is go Knight takes knight, Rook takes, Queen takes B2, Rook takes G7 check, King takes G7, Rook G1 check, King H7, Queen G6 check, King H8, Queen G7 check, mate. Did you all follow that? So that was one idea I have here, is to basically after he takes here to force checkmate. And I hope my opponent is not listening to the analysis, of course. If you missed that, I'm sorry, but we'll see if we get that in the game. So my idea is if knight takes knight, I'm going to go rook takes, queen takes b2, rook takes g7, and according to my calculation, that leads to checkmate. But how should my opponent defend it? Okay, he's found the only move. He's found the only move. This is the only way to defend. Now, I could, again, build up the pressure just with rook g2 and bring my other rook in. Do I have an immediate win? Do I have a crazy sacrifice? Queen takes h6, pawn takes, knight takes here. No, it doesn't work. Do I have knight takes here and then rook here? Well, maybe, but I don't allow my opponent counterplay if I can help it. So I'm thinking here, I'm just going to play, I'm going to keep the pressure. And I'm just going to play rook g2 because I still want to get my last piece into the attack. Now, this is a bit different to the last line because now he can take here. And if rook takes, he may take on b2. But my attack still looks strong if I just bring this rook to g1. If I still bring my rook to g1. It's a pity he didn't allow that last tactical idea. I don't know, is my opponent listening to the stream? Maybe he is, maybe he's not, who knows. But, you know, I hope he's not, because, you know, it would benefit him more if he wasn't. Got to be a little bit careful of my time situation, but all I'm doing is bringing every piece I can think of into the attack. And the only piece that's not in the attack is the rook here, so that little baby wants to come over. Okay, my opponent is maybe listening, but now I'm going to continue. I don't want to exchange queens. I'm not even thinking about exchanging queens. My opponent's king is weaker, so I'm keeping these on the board. He's attacking this. I'm going to play here. And now my idea is to go rook here and rook h8, checkmate. So my opponent has stopped that. But do I have e6 now? He's done that in order to defend this, but that doesn't help him. He played that move very quickly, but I can still go rook takes h6. So I should be winning now. Let's just make sure I get the best line. Now, if I go rook takes h6, he has to go king here, rook to h8 check, king here. I can win a rook there, but I can't see a mate. e6 is also strong here. But then bishop takes, rook takes, queen takes here. Rook takes h6 must be strongish. No? Must be a good move here. I'm going to start with this one. Hope I haven't miscalculated, because you can see my last rook defends against the g-pawn. And this is looking very good. He has to try running. I can win the rook here. Should be winning that one. Quite easily winning, because I think I have a crafty checkmate. If he takes here, I have queen g5 check, king e6, queen here check, king e7, queen d6 check. So the simple way to play here is to play rook check and then pick up the rook, and I'm a rook up. Let's just have a think. Is there anything better? Because e6 is quite tempting. Threatening queen takes f7 checkmate. So e6, is that very good? e6, and if bishop takes, I go rook takes, and I threaten queen h8 checkmate. He goes king back, and then I go back again, and I win even more material. Maybe e6 is even better. Well, then he takes it. No, he can't take there, because I have queen takes f7 checkmate. So I have two very good moves. Two very good moves. I have simple and good rook check and rook takes rook, or I have e6, and they both look very good. They both look very good. What would you guys play? What would you guys play? I mean, maybe I like e6. e6 looks quite good to me. I mean, I don't see why I can't play e6 here. Isn't e6 just the best move? Can he move his rook? Well, if he moves his rook, there, checkmate. If he moves his bishop, then I simply take. Well, maybe I take, check, and it should be winning. But, okay, so here, bishop e8. Of course, it's winning for me, but is it better than the other line? Let's have a look. Rook check, king here. I have rook there, check. Rook takes, queen takes here, check. King d6, queen d7, checkmate. Okay, I like e6. e6, bishop here, check. King e7, takes here. Rook takes here, check. I like e6. I'm liking e6. I'm hoping I want to double check, because it'd be silly to blunder now. I like e6. I think I've worked this out well. The other move that must have been very strong was also rook to h8 check. But this move threatens checkmate in one move. So his possibilities are limited. And the point of this is, if he now takes on e6, I go rook takes e6, and my rook cuts his king off. Now, that move, as we worked out before, was not possible, because it's checkmate in one move, and queen takes f7 is checkmate. So that is the end of that. So thank you to my opponent, Koval Super GM, who I don't think was listening to that. He defended in a decent way. We'll have a quick look at the game now, then I'm going to finish with some more puzzles. And remember, we got Danny Wrench on after me, and it's great because, you know, in a half an hour you've got Danny Wrench with Chess Today, and then after that you've got Gary Kasparov. Oh my words, it's going to be a great day of chess coming up. So you've got a great evening of chess, all on chess.com. So first of all, let's have a look at this game, and I want to show you what I think are the most important things that you can learn from this game, and the most important things that to take away. Okay, so let's go back. Well, the opening, now if you want to learn more about this opening, there's a couple of things you can do for free, and I know a lot of people don't like spending money, including myself, unless you have to. And one thing you can do, check out my YouTube channel, and on my YouTube channel I've looked at this opening in a lot, and it teaches you for free. I've also got lots of streams and long play videos where I only play using the London system, and that is another way you can learn for free. So there's a couple of ways you can learn this opening. I'm not going to explain all the basics again because you know you can go elsewhere to learn that. So let's just go through the opening quite quickly. Now this is one of the main line positions. This position here. This position I analysed you know, quite a lot in my videos. And black now has a couple of options. What most top grandmasters play in this position is b6, because remember, what was black's problem piece here? It's this bishop here. This is the problem piece. So black goes b6 for two reasons. Black wants to play bishop to b7 to try and give that bishop some potential later on, but also to try and control this central square. So bishop e7, and later he wants to control this central square. So b6 is the current main line. But my opponent played a move which I think is a little bit dubious, I have to say. My opponent played h6. Now, you know, I wouldn't play a pawn move in front of my king. I wouldn't move a pawn in front of my king unless I had a good reason to do so. Because we saw later on that maybe the move h6 was actually black's losing move, because it weakens his light squares so much. For example, I play a normal move, queen e2, my opponent takes, and again I think that's a slight error, because you shouldn't release the tension too soon. You shouldn't release the tension too soon. That doesn't make any sense. And here I take, because it gives me more control over here, rook e8, and now this is a main idea in the London system. The knight comes into e5, great square, and now simple chess. I castle, knight d7, he's trying to get this square, but I'm trying to hold that square, and black still has this problem piece here. f5, this was a clever idea, because I think if my opponent doesn't play f5, he's going to be in a lot of trouble. But look at the pawn here. It's funny that if this pawn was back on h7, I think black could be absolutely fine. But because the pawn is on h6, it really does create these light square weaknesses. And we're going to see how much this really tells. Small little things make a lot of problems. So I go bishop h4 because I want to stop his knight. Always think of your opponent's ideas. Try to stop your opponent's ideas. I want to eliminate that knight if it comes there. And now my opponent took on e5. And here, I think this is a very nice position for me, because all I need to do is get g4 in, and it'll open up my bishop and my rook on these files. So queen h5, the queen comes in, and now my knight comes around, knight f3. And here I get g4 in, opening up the bishop, just to demonstrate why this will be a really good idea. If black ever takes on g4, what would you guys play here? I would play queen to g6. And this is what I call double whammy. Double wham bam. Double wham bam. And I don't think there's any way my opponent would be able to stop some kind of checkmate here. For example, pawn takes knight. Queen here, check. King, for example, to this square. Bishop g6, check. And queen here, checkmate. You can see just how dangerous the position is. So the only, I think, other interesting, well, there's two interesting moments, which we're going to have some puzzles coming up. But the next interesting moment was my opponent took on h4. Now, the issue here was, if I go knight takes bishop, I lose control of the g5 square. So my opponent can go queen g5 and try to exchange queens off. And I don't want to exchange queens off because I'm attacking. And when you're attacking in chess, it's better to have the queens on the board. So I now played this sacrificial idea of taking here. And the important line here was, what happens if my opponent plays something like bishop to f6? Maybe he's just losing. I was going to play f6 again, probably with a winning attack, because now look at the strength of this bishop. And my queen can, again, sneak its way in on the light squares. My pawn is very strong. Let's give a potential line. Pawn takes pawn. I go queen to g6 check. He can't go to h8 because I go double whamming with the pieces here, queen h7. So, for example, king here, checkmate. My opponent would have to play king to f8. I have at least a draw, but I think I'm winning by checkmate here with a beautiful line. Queen takes here, check. Okay, let's give you a question. King here. And now this is the line I'd probably play. Bishop here, check. If he goes to h8, there's a very common pattern here, check. only one move here, check, only one move here, checkmate. Again, it shows you, if you know these patterns, they're easy to see. And if my opponent, let's see if anyone can spot this, goes king to f7, what would you play here? Anyone see a good move for white here? Let's just see if you're still awake, or if I put you to sleep. Have I put you to sleep, or are you still awake? Wakey, wakey, rise and shine. So what is happening here? What is going on here? What's a good move here? Anyone see a good move? Someone saying bishop to g6 check. That's a good move. Someone saying queen. Oh, my opponent has spotted a good move. Koval Super GM. And I must say, thank you for the game, Koval Super GM. It was a good game. I just think there was a couple of tactics, a couple of small things you missed, but it was a good game, Koval Super GM. Knight g5 is checkmate. Put that in your pipe and smoke it, Sonny Jim. Look at that. That's a lovely checkmate. Lovely jubbly. Lovely jubbly. Lovely jubbly. Don't you just love it? Don't you just love it, eh? 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 Lovely checkmate there. Okay, so instead of that, maybe my opponent was losing because that, but there was one more line I was calculating I want to share with you, and then we're finished with some tactics, and then you've got Danny Wrench coming up after me. The last line I wanted to show, and let's just go through the moves quite quick now. I didn't want to win the pawn, I wanted to get the attack going. The last line here, and this was the last line I wanted to calculate, was if knight takes knight, rook takes here. Let's see if anyone was paying attention. Now, what was I going to do if my opponent played queen takes b2? What is the best move for white here? Now, you could go rook to g1. Yes, you could, like the game. Is there a better move? 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 Hey, boys and girls? Can you tell me a combination? Who can be first to tell me a combination? Queen takes h6. I wouldn't play because I drop a rook with check. With check. Now, remember to tell me the combination, not just one move. You have to tell me the combination. Koval Super Gem is again pointing out the right idea. It's checkmate in 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5 moves, depending how black wants to defend. Force checkmate. Look for checks. I want everyone to spot the idea here. Come on, everyone. Who was paying attention to my commentary? Who was paying attention? Who was? Remember, when you're attacking, I've got a rule. It's the crash, bang, wallop rule. Now, crash, bang, wallop means you try to kill them straight away. You try to crash your way through. You sacrifice your way through. So when you're attacking, you always look for the most forcing moves first. What is the most forcing move? It must be this move, because this move is a check and a capture, and this move is destroying defenses of black's king. Black has to take, and now my last piece goes. And if you're playing a game of chess, imagine I was playing, I don't know, let's say the Singfield Cup, and I was playing Garry Kasparov. Do you think he would mind if I moved the rook and I went meow? Could I put a sound effect in there? Maybe we'll see Aronian doing that later. Aronian versus Garry Kasparov, the first game we're going to see later on. And I can't wait. It's such a good day of chess. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Do. And okay, well here the black king only has 2 squares to move to. And if he wants to prolong it, king to h7 is maybe, I'd say, the best move. Doesn't make any difference because now my rook controls g6 and queen sneaks its way in, king here, and now I have 2 very pleasant ways of checkmating. Queen to g7, checkmate. And I like Koval Super GM is saying Gary would throw his watch in your face if you did that. He might throw his watch in my face, Koval, or maybe he'd throw his fist in my face. I don't know. I mean, would I be the first person to ever get punched by Garry Kasparov? I mean, I'll tell you what. If we got to this position and Gary was sitting there looking all upset, do you reckon he'd mind if I did this move with sound effects? Do you reckon he'd mind if I did this? I literally did this. Imagine this. I get the queen and I go checkmate, Gary. Do you reckon he'd mind that? Do you reckon he'd mind? Do you reckon I'd ever be in a position to do that? Would I ever be in a position to do that? I don't know. Probably not. probably not be in a position to do that. Would he laugh? I think he would probably punch me in the face, and I'd probably deserve it, I have to say. Just a little bit. Well, you know, one of the only times I've deserved to be punched in the face. Maybe. Okay, right. Now, we've only got about another 10 minutes, then I'm going to get off air. I've got a very sore throat today. I don't know why that is, but hey-ho. And in 10 minutes' time, we're going to have, in about, over 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes, do stay here on chess.com, because you've got the one and only Danny Wrench again. And Danny Wrench is going to go through today's news. And I know that's a really good show. It's a show, one of my favourite shows. So stay tuned. And then after Danny, the one and only Wrench, we have Gary Kasparov playing. Oh my words. So it's a great evening in chess. Now, who can solve these last puzzles? Let's have a look. So I'm going to set up a puzzle now. And while I set it up, I don't want to give it away. So I'm going to put you on my freezing screen. And where are you, screen? Don't misbehave. There we go. And okay, so whoever solves this, you can get a pat in the back from me. So, oh no, what did I do there? I did something weird there. Okay, set up position. So I'm just setting up a position. Hold your horses. And let's go for a puzzle. Let's go, which puzzle is this? Oh, yeah. Oh, no, we're not going to go for that one. We're not going to go, okay. Now, again, another thing I mentioned to you earlier, and this is the theme of the lessons that I was teaching today. It's all about patterns. It's all about patterns in chess. If you start recognizing your patterns, then you will become a lot better player. And every chess idea has a pattern involved with it. And I'm going to demonstrate what I mean now with this little position here. White to play and win. Who's going to be the first to get this? And I'm going to show you how this pattern does also correlate to the next pattern. And this shows you that if you look at chess long enough and you look at puzzles, you will get used to certain ideas. And I'm trying to, with the puzzles I picked today, find patterns where one puzzle relates to the next game. So in your brain, even subconsciously, now don't get me wrong, these are hard puzzles. These are hard puzzles. They're hard puzzles, but they have a certain theme in mind. Okay, and I see that the first person to get the whole answer here is Pot Pie Dude. Pot Pie Dude, I love your name, very nice. That's on Twitch. Koval Super GM, well done. My opponent has also got this. And on the chess.com chat, we have ASD8122002. And that is a long name. And look at this for a beautiful checkmate. Now, I did do this in my blog, so you might have seen it before. But the move here, again, going back to the crash, bang, wallop move. Crash, bang, whoosh. Get the wet fish out and slap him around the face. Wallop. What you do, you look for checks first, especially when I give you a puzzle. And you start to do this in your own games then. You'll start to look for checks, you'll start to see forcing moves, and you'll start to be a rock and roll chess player. And that's kind of what it's all about. Now here, this is brilliant. You give up your queen and your rook. Why did you give up these two pieces? You give them up to allow these two pieces to have the shining light, to really rock and roll. So we go rook to h8 check, boom. And this gives up the rook. There's only one move that black can play. Knight takes h8. And now a very, very beautiful idea. And this is to release the bishop. Now, if you didn't have the rook here, you'd be able to go queen to h7, checkmate. So you might consider doing a move here. I think a good move, but maybe not a winning move, would be something like rook f6 or rook g5, just trying to get the rook out of the way. But remember, if you can force checkmate with checks, it's the way to go. And when you're attacking, you should be looking for checks. And here, this is absolutely beautiful. Queen to h7 check, only one move. King takes. White doesn't have many pieces left, but look how amazing this is. Rook to h5, and that is a double check. Can everyone see how this is turning out now? Anyone who says there's no beauty in chess, I say you're wrong, because look at this. This is beautiful. This is beautiful. And as Pizza Racer is saying, these are clearance sacrifices. The king has to go to g8, and now put that in your pipe and smoke it. Look at that beautiful checkmate there. What a nice checkmate. Okay, now let's get another one of these. Let's see if anyone can solve the next one. The next one is also incredibly beautiful, but I personally think the next puzzle is very similar to this one. I think it has the same theme. And now that you've seen this one, maybe the next one will be easier. So get ready, get ready. I'm going to set up the puzzle, get your thinking brains on, and let's see if anyone can work out the next puzzle. If you can, you're a genius. And when you work this out, boys and girls, I want you to work it out. Don't just give me one move in the chat. You're not going to get any basically praise from me if you just tell me the first move. You need to tell me every move to checkmate. And I think this is like checkmate in 5 or something. You're looking at this from the black point of view. So I'm going to make you look at it from the black point of view. Before I put it up, I'm just going to say hello to people in the chat because we're coming to the end of the show. Koval Super GM saying, yeah, I agree with him. Anyone who saw Aronian's game yesterday, an amazing game. And there was also, and by the way, it's black to play and win. Let's see if anyone gets this, and I'll talk while you try to work this out. Aronian's game is beautiful, but Fabiano had that. I mean, there's so much drama in chess. His first game, which Danny Wrench might look at in about 10 minutes, was disastrous. It was such a tragedy. It was like some Shakespearean tragedy. And it really was. So, yeah, I mean, you know, well worth, you know, chess has everything. Drama, art, beauty, sportsmanship, scientific parts, study, you know, sportsmanship, chaos. It literally has nearly everything you could consider. And well, I have to say, Pot Pie Dude, you are a genius, my friend. Well done, Pot Pie Dude. I think you should treat yourself to a nice pie there. Pot Pie Dude in the Twitch chat is clearly on fire, and this one to me is quite similar to the last one. I'll show you why. I'm just going to give everyone else a bit more of a chance to solve this. So I'm just looking at Brother Josh is saying horseback riding, fencing, true love. Well, I suppose you could compare chess to basically Game of Thrones, couldn't you? It's got all the drama. All we need in chess is a dragon or two and some beheadings, and it'd be perfect. Beheading chess, maybe that wouldn't go down too well. I mean, is there anyone I'd like to behead in chess? No, there's not. I'm not that harsh. I don't dislike anyone that much. But okay, well, here the win is, has anyone worked this out yet? And again, it's quite similar to the last one. It's certainly, if you solve the last one, it's black to play. Now white is a queen up, but what does black have in this position? Black has the open Harry file. And this was taken from a real game, quite a famous player, Shigoring, with the black pieces. And black has the raking bishop. Look at that. That's like a light beam ready to shoot to space. Black also has this bishop. So black has a lot of things going for him. The white king is naked. Naked. It's going in for a playboy shot, that king, and it's not going to do a very good job of it. It's naked over there. And you have to do something quickly because otherwise white will probably attack you. Now, actually, in this game, black did not find the right move. But what can black do? Well, it's very similar to the last tactic. And if you remember the last tactic, you should also really think about, remember, we wanted to get the bishop to this square in the last tactic, did we not? So we had to maneuver our opponent's knight all the way to the corner. How do we do that? And well done. Let's see who has got this right in the chat. Cash Akana has got most of it right in the chat. And look at this. This is absolutely just beautiful. Let's just show it. Just sit back and enjoy. Rook h1 check. Maybe Shigorin thought that was checkmate, but he forgot the knight could take it. No, obviously a beautiful idea. Every move is a forcing move. Every move is a check. Crash, bang, wallop. Crash, bang, wallop. Only one move. Knight takes h1. But now, like the last puzzle, the bishop says, hello, hello, white king, hi. And how do we continue? Because it'd be pointless to play a move like rook to h8 now. For one reason, that would lose the rook, but after knight g3, you haven't gained anything. So you need to keep looking for checks, as I've been teaching the whole way. There's only one check in the position, only one check, and that is bishop h2 check. So when you were calculating this, you should have been looking at this move. And this was in a real game. This was from a real game, from a very famous player, Shigorin. Shigorin was one of the only historically strong players. He had an opening named after him against d4, the Shigorin defense. But Shigorin was one of the only players in the history of chess who used to prefer his knights to his bishops. Now, if you've been looking recently at Singfield, all the top players prefer their bishops to their knights, but this one is in knights to bishops. And the point is here, well, let's go on with the puzzle. The king has to take, and now again we only have one check. So if you just kept following your checks all the way to the end, you'd probably solve this. Rook to h8 check. Now what can white do? White can't go king g1 because boom is checkmate. No, can't do that. So the king has to go into the open. And again, just look for the only checks that you have. What checks do you have? You only have two checks, rook here or knight here. Now we can use the process of elimination and tell ourselves that rook here check is a load of donkey do. And donkey do. I don't know where that came from, but anyway, do I like that phrase? Not sure. And if you do this donkey do move, you will lose your rook. So there's only one other check. The knight comes into f5 check, and now the king is kind of in a bit of a cage there. It has to come forwards. It only has g4 or f4 it can move to. And again, whoever says there's no art in chess, well, I mean, how can you not enjoy this? Another thing I find in chess is that, the better you get at chess, the more you look at chess, the more you enjoy it in actual fact. I mean, people who just start playing chess might get frustrated and they don't see the real beauty. But the more you enjoy chess, the more you can understand patterns, the more you'll see the beauty in chess, the more you'll understand the beautiful ideas. So it really is a game which just gets better and better. It's a hard game, but the more you learn, the better it becomes. And now, after either of these moves, let's say king here, it's the same if king here. You only really, you have a couple of checks, but one of them is checkmate. And the checkmate move is rook to h4. And look at that, artistic checkmate. What a beautiful checkmate that is. I mean, that is one to put in your pipe and smoke. Or boom, as you say. And again, I'm just going to do this for the last time, and Danny's ready. I'm just going to imagine I am, the Singfield Cup. They ring me up at the last minute. They say, Simon, Aronian's just pulled out. Aronian's pulled out. Can you come in and play Gary Kasparov? And I sit there and I suddenly play this combination. Gary moves his king to f4 thinking, what is this stupid boy doing? He's losing all his pieces. And then I go, and then I get my rook. Imagine me doing this in front of the crowd at Singfield, and I go, Gary, Gary. And then I go, boom, Gary. Put that in your pipe and smoke it, son. And then he puts his watch back on, he gets out of there, and everyone throws gold coins on the board. Oh, yeah. Okay, well, I don't know. Went a bit mental there, didn't I? So, right, well, I'm going to round up the show now. First of all, I'd like to say thank you to everyone who has joined me. Remember, do not go away, because straight away after me, we have Danny Wrench, and then we have actually Gary Kasparov playing. So do stay tuned. It gets better and better. I'm going to say thank you to every single person in the chat, on chess.com, on Twitch, who have joined me for this show Hope you enjoyed it, and hope you learned something. I'll be back again next week, I think, now, because I'm off to America, actually, on Thursday. Only for the weekend to Iowa. Never been to America before, just doing some chess lectures. I'll be back in next week. I'm going to do my 12-hour stream next week at some point when I'm not dying. Might involve a little bit of alcohol as well. Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. And if you want to know when that's going to be, then basically just follow me on Twitter, GingerGM. Look at my website, gingergm.com. Or you can also look at my Twitch page, twitch.tv/GingerGM. Quite easy. I'll put notification up of when the 12-hour stream will be. There'll be loads of freebies I'm giving away, loads of prizes that you can win, loads of information about exciting things that are going on. But mainly, thank you all for joining me today for this stream. It's been a pleasure. Thanks a lot, guys. And I'm going to now sit back and enjoy a bit of Danny Wrench. So thank you very much. And I'll see you all on the other side. Bye for now.